Welcome everyone, Costin here with my early campaign guide as Kostaltyn, the great patriarch himself. So Kostaltyn is the last of the 3 legendary lords of Kislev that I'm doing a guide for. I have already done one as Katrin, I have already done one as Boris. I've done those 2 on legendary, and this is also on legendary, very hard battle difficulty. Kostaltyn, I'd say, starts in terms of difficulty between Katrin and Boris, whereas Boris has a very easy campaign start if you abandon his initial province. Katrin has an exceptionally difficult one, and Kostaltyn is in between the 2 of them. He does have some advantages in terms of his army. He starts with 2 streltsy units, he has horse archers, which can be okay, light horse sleds, which are pulled by bears, so they're actually quite decent. He himself is a pretty decent melee combatant, and he also gets a Patriarch, which can give you a significant amount of troop replenishment. Having troop replenishment available from the very start of your campaign that's going to be significant. On top of that, he also starts with Eringrad. Now, he starts with it at level 2, so he can actually access the Armored Cossars and Armored Cossars Great Weapons recruitment from the start of the campaign. This is something Katrin herself would desperately need. What I'm going to do here is get the stall. That income, as well as the income from trade tariffs, markets, is going to be significant. One thing you don't want to do is upgrade the harbor to level 2. It's only going to give you 100 income, and it is going to be extremely expensive. It is pretty weak. Now, research-wise, what choices do you have? Well, one of the best ones would actually be pyro weapons, though if you want to unlock an ice mage, you may want to get ice sculpting and then cold storage, and then eventually get Troll Country Pathfinder, because the campaign movement range is one of the most useful stats to have in a campaign in general. Now, with some of that sorted, let's take a look at the research. No one really likes Kostaltyn, and so we are going to... none of the Kislev factions like Kostaltyn. None of the Imperial factions really like Kostaltyn. You're going to have an issue, unlike Katrin, who actually is liked, you're going to have an issue with getting diplomatic relations. So I'm going to go to the Brotherhood of the Bear, who starts directly to the north of me. They start a war with Azazel. And before I actually do that, however, I want to look at the campaign map and talk about the initial challenges. You have Azazel to the north. You don't necessarily need to declare war on him instantly, but he is going to go to war against you. He's also going to get a Gark Fortress here in the Trollheim Mountains, from pretty much turn 1. Because there's only a minor army, he's meant to defeat it, he's meant to easily win against that army and take the tower over here, and he will. Especially because AI gets significant benefits in auto-resolve on legendary. Then we have Fraught of the Skaven. Skaven are a nuisance to deal with, on legendary in particular, because any Skaven faction, big or minor, is generally going to get at least 2 full stacks of troops, or 2.5 stacks of troops very quickly. They have a lot of recruitment slots, they have a bunch of cheap units, they get significant economic benefits and upkeep benefits. And Fraught is certainly going to be a nuisance to deal with. He's not particularly hard, even outnumbered 2 to 1, but he is a nuisance and he does require a genuine effort to be put on your part. Then to the north we have Throgg. Throgg is one of the most powerful legendary lords in the game. Especially so since the first enemy army he's going to deal with is going to allow him to confederate with Acelings. And that will give him control of the vast majority of the Mountains of Hell. So if you're playing as Throgg, you take out this entire army, you auto-resolve it, you get these 2 regions, and then you can go to war with Kraka Drak. And what happens 90% of the time, or pretty much all the time in every campaign that you play, is that Throgg takes this province, takes the Winter Pyre, goes to war with Kraka Drak, takes out Kraka Drak, and then he attacks you, if you're playing as Kislev. So if you're playing Kostaltyn or Katrin, because you can't ignore these issues as Katrin, you are going to fight Azazel, Fraught, and Throgg. And that is a certainty. If you're playing as Katrin, the issue is actually worse, because you may end up fighting Draka, or Azag, or Festus, or all 3 at the same time. So that's 6 legendary lords that she gets to deal with. You only have to deal with 3. Festus may be a problem, but he's surrounded by enemies, and he's going to spend his time dealing with those. If he ends up threatening you, then yeah, you can beat him back. I feel the AI with the Warriors of Chaos doesn't really know how to take advantage of all their benefits. They can use their unit recruitment, but vassalization and all that, the AI is not necessarily very good at it. Warriors of Chaos are incredibly powerful if played by the player, not so when played by the AI. Okay, So that's the campaign situation. I'm going to toggle the fog of war again. Now, with that said, what I'm going to do is go to diplomacy. And whenever you start the campaign, you want to do this. Now, with the Brotherhood of the Bear, I'm going to get the trade agreement and non-aggression pact, and I'm going to offer to join the war against the Static Legions. They will literally pay me for this. Not a whole amount, but they will give me some money. And that trade agreement is going to generate 58. It's not a lot, but it is something to work on. And now I'm at war with Azazel. Azazel is a monster. He is really powerful in melee. He debuffs your army leadership-wise because of some of the abilities he has. He can also induce a rampage, which makes you lose control of your units. And he has Lore of Shadows, I believe, which affects your leadership even further. He's very durable, very hard to kill, and you don't necessarily have the best tools to do it. So why declare war against him? Because you're gonna have to deal with him. And better to do it on your terms than let the AI dictate that. But of course, we do start at war with the Ungol Kindred over here. And we want to deal with these Ungol Kindred. So first thing I'm going to do is go into the invocations. This is the unique Kislev faction mechanic for all their legendary lords, where you can invoke a god and get various bonuses. The best one to invoke is Urson. Not for the benefits, but for the supporters. If you're playing as any of the legendary lord of Kislev, you do want to build supporters. The reason you want to build supporters is you get benefits. Like, even if you're playing as Boris, you can throw supporters one way or another to either Katrin or Kostaltyn and get the temporary faction buff. But if you're playing Kostaltyn as Katrin, if you get to 50 supporters, 100, and so on, ahead of the competition, in this case, Katrin is the competition, you'll get faction-wide benefit. Diplomatic relations, control, leadership, speed. It is the control and leadership that you're really after when you're playing as Kostaltyn. Because you need that. Now, Kostaltyn himself has a major diplomatic relations effect in the negative with the Ice Court. He gains a pretty solid benefit for leadership with Kossars and a melee attack benefit to Kossars. Though that's not really too important. Even when using Kossars early on, like if it was a range benefit, or like if it was 5% weapon strength on range, that would be incredible, but it's 5 melee attacks, so chance to hit in melee, and if you get your Kossars in melee, they're probably going to be losing. Unless they are armored Kossars, that is a different discussion. He also gets a 20% ward save chance on 20% ward save on Patriarchs. What's ward save, you may ask? Well, to be quite honest with you, I'll be quite blunt about it. I'm not entirely sure exactly how to describe it. I think the way I'd say ward save works, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. It reduces the any type of damage is reduced by this amount, but it's a bit more complicated than just saying that your Patriarchs have a 20% damage reduction, because it works even more than that, because, you know, you have armor, you have various ways of reducing damage taken, and ward saves is on top of that. So for instance, he's reducing damage by 20%, but he's also got 15% missile resistance by default, and he also has armor to reduce melee attack. So a high ward save will be able to reduce the damage your hero is taking, especially in melee, but also in ranged, from units in general. So what this really means is Patriarchs are incredibly tanky and can take a significant amount of damage. Now, I'm not sure if that affects him either, to be honest. I'm not really the biggest fan of Kostaltyn. I think he had one of the worst Kislev campaigns. It doesn't affect him in the default game, because while that 20% ward save may seem significant, Katrin has a lot more. Boris has Warbear benefits. Having a benefit to Kossars is not really too significant. Kislev doesn't have the best economy in the game. And Katrin's benefit to Ice Guard gives you much stronger late game armies. Her control benefit gives you a much easier time in terms of public order in the early game. And Boris's benefit, which, well, he starts with 2 Warbear units, and he has a major upkeep benefit to them. I'd say those two are significantly more useful. You can make a Doomstack of Patriarch, sure, but there's always going to be limitations in how many heroes you can recruit. So either way, that is the intro. Those are some of the things you need to know going into this campaign. It isn't the best campaign. It's not the worst. It's in the middle ground in the early game. I would say it's the worst in the mid-late game, though that doesn't necessarily matter in Warhammer 3 because the mid-late game is pretty irrelevant currently. Though it is easier, significantly easier, to maintain control of all of your territories and provinces as Katrin. And while Boris doesn't have the control benefit, he has an overpowered army. So he can smash an enemy that stands in his way with the greatest ease. Those war bears are going to be able to tank a hell of a lot of damage against units. And one of the things to be said about battles is if you can have a few entities, and the war bears aren't that many, if you can have a few entities going in there, soaking a lot of damage, cycle charging, which they can do, being really good melee combatants in general, then you can also use your ranged units to shoot on them while that's happening, which is not something you can do with most cavalry units. You can, however, do it with heroes and lords, so I guess the patriarchs would fulfill the role for Kostaltyn. So anyway, let's get to fighting. I am going to invoke Urson after this battle. Invoking him here would give me a battle benefit, but yeah, I just plainly forgot. It doesn't matter. Now, the army I'm facing here of the Ungol Kindred, whenever you fight an army of Kislev, as Kislev, you will lose supporters, regardless of who you're fighting as. So this will put you in some trouble. Like, fighting this will cost you 6 supporters, because it's 2 for each battle. So fighting these guys, wiping them out, if you do it quickly, you will lose 6 supporters. 2 for this battle, 2 for each settlement. Now, how do you fight this battle? Well, there are multiple ways of doing so. Personally, I'm going to take the view that one of the best ways to fight any battle like this is to take your 2 heroes and send them ahead. Have them soak the damage, a lot of the damage, and pull back some of these units. Once the heroes are engaged, they will be able to soak a lot of the damage that is going to come their way, and that will allow you to get your ranged units up ahead and do damage from range and concentrate fire. So we got armor Kossars on those 2 sides. I'm just going to send them on different units. And meanwhile, I'm going to send the horse archers, which are the units I care about the least, to tanks to do some of the damage there. And you can see that Kostaltyn and the Patriarch are just going to be able to do a significant amount of damage there, while taking very little in return. So they're keeping them busy. You can also move your ranged units even closer to do more damage. Ranged units will be significantly better if they are able to get closer, because it will increase their accuracy. Now, Kossars do have a nasty tendency of becoming unbreakable when you do something like that. But the goal of this particular battle is to try and take as little damage as possible, especially on my ranged units, because I'm going to need them for some of the battles ahead. The cavalry, the war sleds, well, the war sleds are good units, so if you can prevent them from taking damage, that would be ideal. But the most important thing is keeping those Streltsy, and ideally also keeping Kostaltyn intact, not having him take a significant amount of damage. Alright, their unbreakable effect has triggered. So once that ends, they're gonna start breaking. Unbreakable triggered for him. It's just a nasty thing that happens with Kislev units. So that means they are supposed to route there, but they just haven't until that effect expires. And he's gonna chase me, but once his unbreakable effect ceases, he's going to break as well. May take a bit. And try and kill the enemy lords in a battle is just better. So that gives me a close. Only losing 44 men. Basic battle guide. Bait the enemy with... on the tabletop, you would call this tactic... I don't play the tabletop, though I read a lot of wikis. On the tabletop, it would be called the Distraction Carnifex strategy, where you send a unit that has a decent amount of value that the enemy can't ignore, and I won't ignore a hero or lord in their midst. You send them in to distract the enemy while your ranged units, in particular, but units in general, flankers, melee units, it doesn't matter, come in behind them and wipe them out, essentially. And that's precisely what I've done here. I've gained quite a bit of money, 1,200, and I'm going to use casualty replenishment to practically replenish all of the losses. It won't replenish all the HP Kostaltyn and the Patriarch have suffered, but that is not necessarily going to be too significant of an issue. Now over here I'm going to get Root Marcher for him, and for the Patriarch I'm not going to get anything because he hasn't leveled. Now I also start with Commandment. Over here I'm going to get local recruitment capacity to reduce recruitment costs to be able to get more units. I'm also going to get a Lord, recruit a Lord. From turn 1, recruit a Lord. I think the best one over here would be the Cunning one, because he would get poison attacks and a higher ambush stance. I'm going to move him inside the territory, and I'm going to get some Kossars with spears. And I'm also going to get some regular Kossars through global recruitment. And now I'm going to invoke Urson to gain those supporters. If I look at the supporter meter, I am at 0. You can't go in the negative territory with supporters, which thankfully I'm very thankful for that, because it would be pretty bad. And now here, if I out-resolve this would be a Pyrrhic victory. Now, minor settlement battles are a different kettle of fish altogether, especially since it seems like Creative Assembly has changed some of the AI behavior when it comes to these minor settlement battles. It used to be that, I think it's with the recent patch, though it might have been from the start, it just wasn't triggering, but it used to be the AI would be very skittish, not skittish, sorry. The AI would be very aggressive with forward deployment of their units at the gates of a settlement. But now they seem to want to lure you in to a settlement so they can wipe you out. You want to avoid falling into the trap of doing that, because the AI will tear you to shreds with its towers and range units. Range units are really bad on the defensive siege battles unless you chase them down and you get into a kill zone. You want to avoid that happening for pretty obvious reasons. Now here I'm going to use this Patriarch with his 20% damage reduction, well 35% damage reduction, to soak a lot of damage. When besieging a settlement, the most important thing to understand is you need to understand the layout. You need to look at the layout and consider, okay, what's the best way I can advance here? In this particular settlement, I think this entrance here is actually the best available. It is, however, a ramp, which is going to create issues for your gunners. Gunners need a clear line of sight or a height advantage to really do a lot of damage. I'm going to deploy the Patriarch over here, Streltsy and Kossars behind the Streltsy. Archer units, crossbow units can fire overhead, gunpowder units cannot. So they need a clear line of sight, and I am going to provide that with the Patriarch. Having an entire large unit, like an infantry unit in front, will generally create some problems. I'm going to send my horse archers over here to start doing some damage, and also move Kostaltyn ahead. I am going to use Kostaltyn. Towers can be taken out by archers and handgunners in this kind of situation. You don't want to directly charge Kossars with spears with cavalry, because the spears are, well, as you might imagine, designed to deal with the cavalry itself. Also remember that unbreakable effect that Kislev has, which is going to affect you. Now I'm not going to use the Roar of Urson. Urson has this effect, which affects speed and leadership in particular, and vigor. Vigor is how tired or not your units are. Is an important stat, and you shouldn't ignore it. Now these guys are getting hammered right there. We're gonna take the dervishes and the war sleds, and we're gonna go in. The war sleds are supposed to be a skirmish unit. You can use it in that role, but really don't be afraid of getting stuck in a fight with them, because they're actually pretty decent at that as well. Now the AI is pulling back here. That's fine. And we're gonna go charge directly into those Kossars with spear. Ultimately, they are warbears. And warbears, yeah, Kossars with spears are not the best melee combatants. They're not the best suited to dealing with that particular situation. The tower has been taken out by my Kossars. And yeah, as you can see here, the effect has been triggered. Pull them out. Once the effect expires, I'll charge right in. We keep advancing, even though the Streltsy are taking some damage over there. And I'm gonna try and pin those guys down. Alright, that's triggered again. Now with that sorted out, I'm actually gonna pull these guys out and head for the main entrance. Specifically, I'm going to want to go over there. To deal with these regular Kossars. And since they're regular Kossars, they're not gonna have all those lovely advantages. Streltsy are taking a lot of damage, too much. I'm going to pull them back to prevent all that damage from being taken. Now those are Kossars with spears, by the way. You can't tell it by the name, but yeah, they're because it's the name of the garrison commander. Gonna use burst as our roar. To hit them. Now it's fine to take some damage, and you are always going to take some damage in a siege. That is not avoidable. I've actually decided that, you know what, it might just be better to hit them over there. And to pursue those regular Kossars with those. They've got a lot of charge damage. And they can really hold their own in a melee fight. Alright, so get Kostaltyn and the Patriarch to advance. And now they're looking to break. Their Unbreakable has triggered, so now it's just a matter of waiting for it to expire. Don't even charge in. Just try and get these guys out, so that the damage I'm gonna take is going to be significantly less. Once it expires, yeah, the battle ends. You can chase down after units get more experience, I think. Pyrrhic victory. Though the amount of experience you gain, I think, depends on the type of victory you won. I've lost 200 men in total. Like 250 men or so. Significant damage on some of these units, but the core of the army, the range units are relatively okay. And I'm also going to take the settlement, occupy it, and get a replenishment. When you take a settlement, you can loot, occupy it, sack it, raise it, all that. I could loot and occupy it if I wanted a bit more replenishment. Maybe that would be a bit useful given the context over here. Though I would also have to pay to repair the structures. However, I don't think that's strictly necessary in this situation, given the fact that Kostaltyn... actually, he doesn't get that. Right, so we're just gonna occupy it directly. And I am going to get 2 Kossar units over here. 2 more Kossar units. And get Inspiring Presence. You want to get Inspiring Presence for not just the leadership, but the 75 experience per turn. For the Patriarch, replenishment. So now I've got 5 units being recruited here. It's going to be more with this commandment, because that's going to give me 2 recruitment capacity. So next turn I'll be able to start recruiting 4 more units. Though whether or not I'll be able to afford 4 more units is a completely different discussion. Maybe, maybe not. Either way, what we want to do here, and this is the crucial part, we want to neutralize Azazel. He's taken the tower. He's not going to start moving against me, but the AI is going to calculate its odds against me as the player, and it's going to rightly conclude that Azazel's army is significantly more powerful than Kostaltyn's army. Of course, I'm also recruiting more units in an army in Aragrad, so that's also going to be more units that I can recruit. So here, 4 units. I'll make sure to get all of them Kossars with spears. The reason you want these guys to all be Kossars with spears is for the following reason. Kossars with spears are better against large units. Actually, they're flat out better in my perspective in general. The general problem that you encounter when you are playing as with a full range stack, and that's what you're going to have as Kislev. You're going to have a lot of ranged units, is flanking maneuvers, by cavalry in particular. That's what makes the Kossars with spears. They're a bit more expensive, sure, but they're better in every single way that counts. Alright, so Azazel is quite likely, in fact I'm pretty sure I see him there, or maybe that's just a map effect. But Azazel is quite likely going to start marching south against me. They're also going to recruit some units, so making this battle for this last settlement more difficult than it otherwise has to be. And yeah, there is Azazel. Now over here, I am going to get this entire army, and I am going to... Now, you can see that Azazel is not going to be quite able to attack me directly. He might be putting me under siege, but I can always stand outside of the settlement with that. There are ways to skin a cat, so to speak. And I already have 20 units. That is nice indeed. 21 to be particular. Now here, he's got 4 Kossars with spears, 1 regular Kossar unit, and the garrison, which is made up of number of Kossars with spears and Kossar dervishes, which are pretty useless, honestly. This army has no chance against my army. But of course, since this is very hard battle difficulty, the AI just, well, I feel like all of the auto-resolve bonuses that the AI has on Legendary should just be completely eliminated from the game. Or eliminated completely. It's like, oh, but, you know, the battles might be harder. Not really. I mean, obviously, the leadership effect counts. But other benefits, the benefits that the AI gets in battles do count, but I think the AI gets way too much leeway when it comes to auto-resolve. Significantly too much. And I do think that doesn't end up working so well. It is nice that it's no longer a case of, well, it being affected by campaign difficulty, but yeah, the auto-resolve is just, yeah, awful. It's been awful throughout the entirety of Total War. I guess the issue with changing it is that you can't just change it in a simple way. The reason is that the AI itself makes decisions based on auto-resolve, right? So if you start changing it willy-nilly, it's going to end up breaking the game pretty quickly. So anyway, Kostaltyn and his fellow Patriarch are going to start advancing over there. These guys are going to take down the tower. Archers are able to take down towers very quickly. And these two are going to advance against those guys. I'm going to be careful with the Streltsy. I don't care how many casualties I suffer on my Kostars. Well, I do care for obvious reasons. But as long as they're not too significant, it's not especially relevant. Now, I'm going to move my Kostars ahead and start doing damage to any enemy units that come in range. Like the moment they come in range, just start shooting at them. Let's put that over there. And I'm also going to start sending in the Warbear units. And actually in this case get those Streltsy in, because they should be able to get some shots off without getting damaged in return. I need to be careful that they don't do too much damage to Kostaltyn, or like friendly fire is still a thing even in this kind of context. But especially I don't want them to do damage to my Warbears. The Warbears are an important unit that I really want to be protected there. Believe it or not, the AI is actually is not really benefiting itself as much as you might think through all this skirmishing. There is a default stance, if you will, whereby the skirmish stance, right? The skirmish behavior. Angry bears doing what angry bears do. It's a shame they're not polar bears. They would fit right in this. Okay. The chariot, the sleds have done all they can right there. And I need to be mindful of not losing them, because yeah, they're a bit stuck in. And I need to try and get them out. It's gonna be a bit painful. Like, I may have overextended them. But is it important if I lose them? Yeah, kinda. But I'd be fine without them. Yeah, they can be a good unit to have on the campaign map, but if you lose them, you'll be fine without them. Even so. Alright, they're gonna continue to shoot there. Kostaltyn keeps going after those Kostars. And let me just speed this up. Okay. Alright, they've broken. The battle's over, more or less. There we go. Army losses. And that would be the end of the Ungol kindred there. Last 6 supporters gained 10, so I'm positive 4. Believe it or not, this is actually a better situation than Catherine might find herself in.
Yes! This is Orison's home now.
Goya, there will be no sleep. The right to rule. With this, my rule is absolute.
The four gods bless.
Now I'm picking up firing drills so that my clusters will be better in a battle. And for him, I'm going to get Urson's Roar. Eventually, I'll want either Vigor, melee attack, or replenishment. Or you can just get a lot of Patriarchs for him. Gonna cancel the structure to get more money. Over here, gonna get the stalls to level 2. And over here, I can get this one to get more units. I can also recruit an Atherman to a station there. Though the location of the Western Oblast, if it was this settlement, I would instantly put him there because he can be useful. Here I am going to go with growth in public order. If I had one with income in public order, that would be probably better. But let's just support the situation here, and I'm going to also change this commandment to control.
What?
And also I'm tempted to just cancel this, though getting some armor costers may be useful. However, they are perhaps too expensive right now, and although they're decent, they're just not what I need right now in my campaign. I'll need them later, just not right now.
It cements my power.
Some recruitment options would be nice. Actually, I can get some recruitment going.
Baron of the motherland.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Put the dervishes and horse archers there.
For the good of
And get 2 units of regular costars over there. Regular costars are costars with spears are from the structure which I'm destroying. So if I were to recruit there, I would actually just end up losing the units. Now Azazel can do a couple of things here. There's nothing certain. I do have a powerful stack of units, so you might just decide to get the hell out of there. And that feels like what he's decided to do. So I can pursue him. Now the thing is, with this, he's moved his hero here. I don't know if he has more, but he's probably gone back north, right? That gives the Brotherhood of the Bear time to recruit more units. And there's a good chance... Okay.
Kislev's chosen. No higher.
Alright, so he's fallen back. Let's see.
do not be seen. Heed me. I said march.
Boyar of Kislev. improper for nobility. Bow to me. I accept
And I'm going to get more
only
Kossars with
loyalty.
spears. Kossars, sorry.
Our palks stand shoulder to shoulder. We are
And with all of those Kossar units, I'm going to go after Azazel. Now here, I do need more devotion to be able to get the church. You need a church to get more supporters.
By blood.
Now why do I want so many units? Because that fight is going to be a nightmare, and once you're done with it, it's not gonna be a cakewalk either. Now, by putting him in ambush stance, I'm hoping to bait Azazel out of his fortress. And that is precisely what I have done. However, do not assume that this one is going to be a cakewalk, because it is sadly not so. You can see how powerful his army is, and there's a reason why this army is considered, like, why this would be considered the Valley of Defeat. Now, I got lucky enough that I ambushed him. You may not have this situation happen to you. He gets units of Chosen Sinnelleos, he has Chaos Warriors, 3 units of Chaos Warriors, and he himself is something of a beast in a battle. If you pick a fight in melee with Azazel, chances are you're going to get annihilated. There is a significant debuff that enemy units get, when an ambush battle starts. That's something you may want to take advantage of. There's also this Manticore over here. But the one thing we want to do here real quickly is kill him, kill his Manticore, and then just, well, take his army out. Let's see where the army is going to be. Now, it might just be a really better idea to deploy over here, because this will afford me a level of protection. Now, I'm gonna move these guys there. I'm gonna position the Kossars with spears here. Actually, here. And we are going to gun as hard as we can against Azazel. Now, the elevation here is a friend. It's a friend because it allows my Streltsy, who will be on the high ground, might need to get them closer even. It will allow them to shoot at the enemy. Now, I need to be mindful of a couple of facts here. One, the Azazel has some fairly fast units. So I'm gonna need some Kossars with spears on each flank. There are some better formations you can use. And to be honest with you, it might actually just be worth it to position all of these guys in a different way. But either way, let's start shooting at the bastard.
Fight and die for Orson. No other.
You can see that he's engaged in melee. That's fine. Keep the fighting going. Get Kostaltyn out of there. You can lose him. Don't pick a fight like that, because those units are significantly stronger than what you got. Azazel is significantly stronger than what you got. Kostaltyn gets hit by Azazel once, you're gonna feel it. Like you can see there. Alright, he's dead. Reposition here. Keep the shooting going. Return. Fire. Get that damn Manticore out of the fray. Get Orson's blessing there. They've triggered the unbreakable effect. No, not them. Get Kostaltyn out. Get.
I obey Orson. I am Kislev true. Hartsovish! Supreme Patriarch Kostaltyn!
Having to fight a bunch of Chaos Warriors is not the best situation in the world. But as long as Azazel is dead, that's all you really care about there. Because that is your main threat. Now I'm willing to sacrifice all of these Kossars for victory. Try not losing that, because try not losing that Patriarch, because you're not going to be able to get one easily. You may be able to replenish. Now, this is a prime example of what I'm talking about, by the way. Alright, keep shooting there.
Bring them down! Kislev, move it!
Yet another roar. What happens if you don't get ambushed, you might ask? Well, that's actually a lot simpler. You corner camp. But here I decide, since I had gotten the ambush, to really take advantage of it. Now those Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh, they might be some of the worst Chaos Warriors in the entire game, but they're still Chaos Warriors. Make no mistake on that. They're still incredibly powerful. Right. Now once they start breaking, and they will, the army losses have triggered in. Try and finish them off. They might be able to escape if you're not careful here. It is an ambush battle, but you really, really do want to do a lot of damage here. The downside if you corner camp against this is... I'm not sure if you can escape. Like, they probably wouldn't escape from this. Like, so this is his entire army, essentially decimated. The more casualties I do here, the better off I'll be. If you can kill that Manticore, do so. If you can kill the Chaos Warriors, do so. And that is a close fit. Now, one of the benefits I had there is because I deployed my Streltsy on the high ground where they had a clear line of fire, I was able to use that to do a lot of damage with it. That entire army is essentially eliminated. And now here we can engage. Now, keep in mind, I'm still in friendly territory here. So I'll be able to engage that army. They did retreat. I was correct on that. Very few escaped though. Or actually they didn't retreat. Alright, so he's gotten a horse, campaign movement range, and we've gotten finally that upgrade. So after that first upgrade, I'm going to get that upgrade to give you a battle benefit. Here I'm going to get the church, and here another one as well. Just get those to get those supporters, start getting those supporters. For him, I'm going to finish firing drills, and after that, I am going to... Well, there are a couple of ways of viewing it. You can save your skill points and unlock all of this, and I think I'll actually do that. Because there's some significant benefits here. Casualty replenishment, hit points, devotion gain from successful hero actions, hero recruit rank for patriarchs in local province. Okay, melee attack and recruitment cost in general.
Person moves through
Now for the Patriarch, so I'm not going to spend any points. For him, I'm going to pick that up, and there are a few ways of viewing it. I think the melee attack benefit would actually be the best, at least for him. You do have exclusivity there.
Loyalty goes unrewarded.
Goya. Oh,
Now, two ways of viewing this battle that you can fight here. One, you can draw the garrison out by attacking here.
No higher authority.
I am going to do just that.
Seeking power.
The infidel dies.
Okay. Now, they've gotten some costers. I'll try not to kill them. But even if I lose them, it isn't too big of a deal. One thing you can do against Lina, if you find yourself in a situation, like, he could have seduced some costers, though, because I ambushed them, yeah. He could have seduced some Streltsy, that would have hurt. But he probably doesn't have the budget for it. Now, there's just those two units right there. And the reinforcements are going to spawn on that side. I am not really going to care too much about this initial army. And instead, I'm just going to deploy my entire force to deal with these reinforcements. The problem... Now, these are just some Chaos Warriors and some Marauders and all that, so it's not really too big of an issue. I'm going to move the damaged units to the back so that they don't get damaged even further. I am a bit concerned on this side. Now, I would prefer not to kill my own units, right? For obvious reasons. I can easily do so, but I would rather not. Now here, I don't have a good line of sight, so I think I'm just going to deploy like this. Streltsy in the front. They won't really be able to get there. Kostaltyn and those fellows right there.
Obey the orthodoxy.
And these guys over on this side. If these guys advance, if these fellows advance,
I cannot give you
then I'll just turn around and shoot them.
care only that you
They will likely advance, so I'm just gonna move turn one unit from the very start here. Spread them out a bit. They're not quite in range from the very start here, and it is a slope, an inverse slope, right? That creates issues with line of sight, obviously. Alright, they're gonna start appearing on the battlefield in just a moment. Greet them with gunpowder.
By the orthodoxy. Defenders of Kislev.
Ouch, that's a bad idea there. That was a bad idea. Okay, he's dead. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna have to redo the battle. And no, I am not at all ashamed of doing it. It is a battle I would win. It's not a battle I will lose. I don't play on Legendary because of the crap of like, oh, consequences. No, I play on Legendary because it gives the AI significant bonuses. Without those bonuses, the AI would be a cakewalk. Like, I would actually love a Legendary difficulty without, you know, all the saving. Well, the saving thing is kind of fine, like, alright, but, yeah, I don't care about that. Like, I would like a difficulty. Like, I'm not sure if there is necessarily a difference, but there is actually a difference in terms of difficulty, like in terms of mechanics, so to speak. You may feel I'm cheesing, you may feel this is not legitimate, whatever. if you really care about that, all I'm gonna say is this is a series defined by cheesing. If you, this is a series defined by cheesing. If you want to play, like, it would be nice if it wasn't. It would be nice like proper tactics had more of an impact instead of us being forced to cheese like this, but it is what it is. And it's kind of like the worst aspects of XCOM. Like, XCOM has a lot of things, like playing XCOM on Iron Man, that's interesting, though, especially when they gave you a lot of HP benefits, right? So he is going to be absolutely crushed there if I do decide to keep him. Alright, lesson learned. I actually was a bit surprised there. So I'm just gonna position him here. And use Kostaltyn. Now also get these guys out. This reality might take a lot of damage, but honestly, in this kind of situation, in this kind of context, it's not really important how many casualties I suffer, because, yeah, keeping this Patriarch alive is essential. Now, I was a bit too careless there, I admit. But the reason it's essential is for the following purpose. He gives you an enormous amount of casualty replenishment. You can get the tank Kostaltyn as well if you so desire, and it will stack. I think I might have killed him myself with a lot of my own ranged damage. Alright. Let's get him out. He will end up dead at this rate. I mean, the goal I was having here was to use him as a tank, but he's clearly not suited for that role. Oh, Warriors of Chaos are good in melee, who the funk. Almost dead, get out. Wow, okay. I guess I was surprised by the melee damage that they were able to do. Lesson learned. The battle is essentially over, you just need to kill... I just need to kill these guys. That's gonna be a bigger task than you might think. Hold these guys back. Alright, battle's over. I find myself somewhat surprised by the damage you can take sometimes from just a single melee hit from a level 1 hero. Like, it's not like we're talking here about guys who are like, ooh, high level legendary lords just smashing me in the face, but that's like, that felt like a hit like from Kolek. That's pretty crazy. Actually, Kolek was probably one-shot Kostaltyn at that point. But if you play as Kolek, it's like, yeah, these guys don't have that damage. Do they get the weapon strength benefit? No, I know they get melee defense and I think attack as well. But I'm not sure they get weapon strength. Alright, the one thing you want to get here when you're fighting Chaos, get the devotion. You are gonna need it.
Goya. Gospodar by blood.
Alright.
Execute the heretic. A sacrifice to fail or flee is blasphemy.
Highborn son.
In all bloody seriousness, how much crap do they have?
Kostaltyn.
Holy hell. We're sometimes shocked to find out.
Move or face
Okay.
death.
Torture us into submission.
Betrayers! Betrayers all around! Only the faithful may serve.
Does your country?
Cease. Never heed.
I have
Now,
provinces to govern.
once that's
Them
done,
to
you give
command.
them the
This
towers,
impressed me
the tower there. It won't give you a lot of money, but you've just established your northern border. Securely against chaos.
Bow to me.
Supreme Patriarch! Seek out betrayers!
Alright. Now I won't be able to replenish this turn. I'm gonna get weapon strength for him. Also, the Atterman is gonna get an event next turn. So Azazel is finished. Or you'd hope so, right? What this means though is the Norscan factions to the north, don't go to the north. You'll regret your life. I like how the garrison instantly replenished there to full the moment I gave them that entire territory. Yeah, auto-resolving this would be a bad idea. Seriously? I'm like, what? I mean, that was a full garrison. Oh gosh, I do hate some of this stuff sometimes. Alright, the Druzina Enclave is defeated.
Only I spread truth.
Face my ire.
Very well.
How bad can the AI be? By the way, speaking about some things, we're pointing out how seduction works. The AI will generally try and seduce units, but there's a bit of a weird aspect to it as
A
well
symbol of my unparalleled authority.
when they end up, when it ends up happening. All right, so the Atterman has gained level, so you can reduce construction cost or increase rank by 1. Master Builder is probably better, a lot better. Save yourself a lot of money.
I am the fifth.
All right.
I am Kostaltyn.
I will readily admit that I did not anticipate that particular outcome. But well, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. But this is fine. Fraught will declare war, sure, but it isn't too big of an issue. I just didn't want to have to go for the battle screen over there. The constant loading screens that you go through battle for battle. I'm not gonna lie, it's a major reason. And I have an NVMe drive. Like, I'm not, this is not an SSD, this is NVMe. Maybe if I had a uber powerful
Cut them down.
CPU, sure.
Hearts of ice.
Alright. But I guess it ended up working.
More taxpayers. Excellent.
Working out for the best. Alright, Kostaltyn is going to force march here.
Kislev's
He's just...
highborn.
And we're gonna...
Obey. Conscription for the motherland.
Approved.
And I'm going to give these guys
Fear not.
that territory
You
back.
stand with a boyar of Kislev. Kislev.
For a bit more money.
And what can the Dawi do for
Now,
you?
don't make any deals with Kraka Drak unless you're talking about military access to deal with Throgg. Once he gets a war bear, things do get very nice indeed. Alright, here you want to get melee defense. Clearly it is necessary. It is very clearly necessary against the myriad of threats. Now this army. Now this would cost a lot to get to level 2. That would cost a bit less. But yeah, let's start getting that so we can start recruiting patriarchs. Soon enough I will be able to recruit ice mages.
For Mother Kislev.
This is not the kind of campaign, by the way, you get lazy
No
or
other may wield it.
screw around at any point. Now I wonder if Frot. I know. Yeah, he has a tendency to declare war against Katrin. I could take advantage of that, by the way. I will take advantage of that.
Let the kvass flow freely.
So, the Brotherhood of the Bear just will secure this province. Since they have a heavily fortified settlement there, they won't be so easy to take out. Now, eventually, you know, Wolfric, Norscan factions can eventually take them out, but the minor Norscan factions, not necessarily so. And if you make a military alliance with them, you can direct them towards greater purpose, if you will.
Supreme Patriarch, word reach.
Now, this is a quest battle. It is a harsh one. Don't do this. Genuinely don't.
Kostaltyn.
Ignore that it exists
Lord of all.
until you've dealt with Clan Moulder. Because doing this quest battle, yeah, you get replenishment, but is going to be pretty harsh. Now, over here, I know the Skaven, Frot will generally occupy these settlements. He won't just raise them to the ground or anything like that. Now, it would be nice if I had actual vision with Ice Court.
Tolerate no opposition.
I do, actually. And I can join the war that she has against Clan Moulder
And what?
I
for
have
some money.
provinces to govern, men to command. This had best be.
That's gonna give me a bit of money. How much movement point does Kostaltyn have? Not a great deal. The garrison of Skaven is gonna be a joke.
Of the mother.
And we're gonna get more money. When dealing with Skaven, you don't screw around. You get as many troops as possible, even if you literally bankrupt yourself. Now, this is just a bunch of Skaven slaves, clan rats. This is a battle you should fight manually. Don't auto-resolve this. You will need to take as little damage as possible. Frot has a really powerful army, and multiple armies. Though it's quite likely he's marched his army south to deal with Katrin. Katrin will beat the shit out of him if he tries to assault Kislev, but I may have given her some time. Now, keep in mind, I've gained a lot of supporters here, an enormous amount, because I took that settlement that Azazel had twice, so that's 10 supporters. I'm gonna get 5 more, That's 15. With 4 more, probably going to be a 19, right? And I've also gained a lot of devotion by, damn, fighting Azazel multiple times. That was rough, I admit. That was really rough. But I'll take this campaign start any single day over the crap that Catherine has to deal with. Any single day. Because Catherine not only has to deal with this, though she may have a better army by this point. Actually, Catherine can ignore Azazel. For a while, at least. Just gonna move them up and move all of these fellows up as well. Get these guys over here.
Shaking blasphemers.
Wolf tough Kislevites! Hussars!
Behold!
Let's take it out.
Comrades of the bear!
Oh. Oh. They've got giant axes, though. One thing to be said about Streltsy. They are not weak units in melee. Classers may be weak units that you never want to get in melee. Streltsy, they can hold their own. They're basically like white lions combined with archers. Well, white lions combined with handgunners. Right, Classers have done their thing. Kostaltyn and him will... will do their own rolls. Even if Kostaltyn ends up taking a lot of damage. Well, more of these guys. Let's actually deploy them properly, regardless of how much damage Kostaltyn might take.
Sons of Kislev! Make war for the motherland!
And there we go.
The orthodoxy sees all.
We want Kislev endures! Go with honor!
This is proving, like, I know that there's a lot of Skaven corruption and there's a lot of Menace Below you can summon because of that. That is proving to be quite something else. Alright, pull back.
Land is power!
Hit the leadership debuff button.
Purge them!
Alright.
Sons of Kislev! Taking point!
And then get out. They've done enough.
So be it! They die!
Obey the bear.
Costin!
Yes.
Defenders of Kislev!
Now over here I have two ways of viewing this situation. The first one is if I stick around in the settlement and Front ambushes me, or not ambushes me, if he lays siege to it, then I'm gonna take instant attrition damage. I understand the logic of what Creative Assembly was trying to do, but I think one turn to not take attrition damage would certainly be very, very welcome. Right, they're breaking. Alright, we got more Skaven slave slingers. And they're all gonna start breaking soon enough.
Easy orthodoxy! Hold up, Kislev!
That's it. Whether or not Fraud intervenes depends on where he is. The damage that you see right here is why you want to protect your Streltsy. You do have all the line of sight issues that come from that, but they can do an enormous amount of damage, and unlike handgunner units or many other ranged units, they're actually pretty good in melee. So it's not an issue. Unless it's cavalry, that's a different thing. Although historically speaking, the axe that the Streltsy had was actually designed to counter cavalry charges. Because Moscow was spending a lot of time fighting the Mongols. And that's why the Streltsy were created. Here, I'm going to demolish this building. We're gonna get more and more churches. There will never be enough churches as Kislev. You need a lot of it. You need a lot of supporters. I'm at 28 supporters. I am way ahead of Katrin over here.
Descent rules.
Now here, I still have free turns on that. I may not be able to take Help Hit with that, but I can get pretty damn far with it. This is the easy part, really. The hard part has been dealt with. Dealing with Azazel is the hard part. Life is good and easy after this point. Need to be careful over what Frot might do. I have no idea where he is. He could very well, and he likely is in an ambush stand somewhere. He could be retreating back to Help Hit. He could be raiding Katrin. He could be anywhere between them. If you get ambushed by Frot, that is not a fight you want to take. Alright, so we get Ice Sculpting. Like we can finally recruit Mage. Obviously the mages are nowhere near as good as the ones that Katrin is gonna be able to have. But yeah, I can go take that settlement. So, what do you do? Well, I take the risk. Fra might be in there himself, actually. If he is. And there he is, the bastard. Now, here's something I'm gonna say. You encounter this situation, you attack instantly. You don't hesitate. If you hesitate, you're gonna get screwed. Hard. The reason you'll be screwed really hard is because what's gonna end up happening in this situation, and I'm just gonna toggle Fog of War because I know it is the case. If you wait, you see these armies here? These armies, like this army here, will come and reinforce Frot. This is a certainty. Like whenever you whenever you besieging a settlement is a dumb idea. Like waiting for attrition is a really stupid idea. Now, there are of course multiple ways of tackling that. I'm gonna get cold storage as research. I'm gonna see what other benefits I can get. I know he's gonna be wiped out by Throgg.
Sure.
If you can keep Kraka Drak alive, that would be phenomenal. Like even if it's like to be fair, in this case, like if I toggle Fog of War, he has been slower than expected. But I know what's gonna happen. Like I think they tried to stop him there and they failed at the Winter Pyre. What I've noticed since 2.1 came out is that the AI is just slower in its initial move. It will build the Doomstack and then attack. I guess a lot was happening, perhaps especially on lower difficulties, is that the AI was just not being particularly good in the early game. And a lot of factions were getting wiped out very quickly. So over here, we need to win. And we need to win on our own. Because if I get the Pyrrhic victory, well, I'm not quite sure. That's in forced march stance, so I don't believe they would be able to attack instantly. Now I already know that's gonna happen. Would I lose any units? No, let me just save myself a trouble. This would be one of the few situations where actually auto-resolve is better than fighting the battle manually. Don't get used to it. It happens rarely.
This is mine by
Very bloody rarely. And he's gotten rank 12. I don't think they're necessarily okay, so hero recruit rank for Patriarchs, hero recruitment cost, melee attack. Get all of this stuff. Eventually get Arcane Vessel 1-18, and he's gotten a Warbear. For the Patriarch, go pick up more melee defense. You will want it. And these units, they're rank free. I could merge some of these guys together, get more recruitment. Okay. You can get control, recruitment cost, lower capacity, hero recruit rank. I'm gonna dismiss that. You know what, Kislev could use a growth one. Alright, that's gonna be soon finished. Right. So now we will go and take Help It. Commandment wise, I think I'm gonna go for the control one.
Know well that I am accustomed to getting anything I want.
And I'm actually gonna join their war right there. Or not.
My power is epic.
Alright, she's gonna start, well, not liking me. She will never like me.
The Empire.
Well, to be fair,
Born son.
in that case, it's more of a case of Kostaltyn being an ass. Though Katrin isn't a saint. If you think Katrin is a nice person, you don't quite know the lore that is involved behind her. She is awful as a person.
Betrayers all
Genuinely
around.
so. Just merging a bunch of these units. I've got capacity to recruit, and I've got
Motherland.
significant
Give your life for Kislev.
desire to do so.
Supreme Patriarch. Heed me.
Now, how am I getting that capacity? That is an excellent question. It's just for this, right? So you can recruit. You can be a recruiter.
Obey me.
Right.
Obey Ursa.
It might seem like a bad idea, but it's like it's just getting units at a higher level. Now, if I had not thought to resolve that, would I have taken the same casualties? No, of course not. Now, my Ursan Devotion invocation is going to expire soon. But, in a very significant fashion, I've managed to set myself up in a pretty good situation when it comes to supporters. Catherine is not going to catch up to me. She can't. She has no way of doing so. Catherine has a very defensive-oriented campaign, except she doesn't have any of the tools to make a defensive-oriented campaign work. She has a defensive-oriented campaign because she doesn't have enough devotion. Like, you need to... Like, the ideal situation for Catherine would be to spend a lot of time just building stuff up, right? She doesn't have the ability to do so. Alright, so we're gonna get some income over here. Okay. No, not that. So 120, I am at 27. Yep. He's at 38. How long until that expires? 1 turn.
Obey.
Now, here, just like I laid the trap for Azazel, I'm going to lay a trap for the Skaven armies that are going to descend.
Very well.
You do need to be mindful of one particular fact.
Be seen.
I could station him here, or I could station him on the border, get him close, and move him
Set camp at once. Advance
over
for
there.
Kislev. I reject any who...
Now, this is quite unlikely to work, to be blunt about it. She's gained a level. Let's go Tempest. That's the kind of mage you want to get.
What?
I will listen.
So,
He's at war with the Ostermark. Huh.
Lord of all,
Alright.
all cold is bound.
If you're hoping for a tip on how to siege Hellpit, how to deal with this element, well, there's always a blind spot in sieges. And you can take advantage of that. Personal advice, get enough armies to, well, do something like this. He's gonna get wiped out.
Kislev, the enduring.
That's fine. Yeah, I know, I lost an army and a hero and all that kind of stuff. If this was a proper campaign, obviously I would have tried to fight that on my own, but I don't mind losing him. This is a risk where they bypass your ambush and just ambush your army that is supposed to be the bait. The bait became a... But they're out of position, and they're in forced march. I may have lost my hero, but that's fine. I'm not too overly concerned by anything I lost there. I am going to get Vanguard. He wasn't too high of a level, and the units he had were not too significant.
Repel chaos.
Was I over the... Yeah, I moved over the border, okay. For whatever reason. Now the thing is, these armies are vulnerable. As you can see. There's 3 armies. Holy shit.
To fail or flee is blasphemy. Fetch my lash.
That was a lot, I admit. That was a ridiculous amount. But just remember, this is the highest possible difficulty in the game. The absolute highest. You don't get higher than that. If I chase him down, well, I might be able to get to help it anyway. This is the power Kostaltyn has. Let's fight this one. I've lost enough in units for the crap shit author. Though to be fair, that battle that I just fought, it's actually better to auto-resolve a situation like that, because you'll actually end up taking significantly fewer casualties for that. Sometimes the auto-resolve can actually work for you, despite all the major disadvantages. Skaven tend to do pretty bad in auto-resolve. I know, shocking. But they do tend to do very bad in auto-resolve. So this is a bit surprising, but yeah, these are just clan rats. You know, this is actually representing an issue that Throgg does have on his campaign. He only starts with the ability of recruiting clan rats, and it takes him a genuinely good amount of time to be able to switch that up. No more invocation of Urson, though. Oh, I would love a little Grom right now. Or a mage.
Follow the bear! On the march!
I am Kislev Throgg.
To battle! The orthodoxy! Yes! Forest one, speak! Land is power! Kossar! To battle! For the motherland! Obey the orthodoxy!
The brave patriarch Kostaltyn.
I call with reverence!
Obey the bear.
Hearts of ice!
Oh, this is pathetic. And yeah, you fight a battle, you win, decisive victory. 25 units lost. I lose 2 entire units. I would lose hundreds and hundreds of men. Seriously. That's it. Well, yeah, I did take advantage of that thought resolve, though it probably can come down to better tactics. Though, yeah, I would have lost a lot of men in the previous battles. 3 fucking stacks. Holy crap, did this even go to... Though it might have been some free units from the fleshing the tanks, I think, potentially. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
To serve Orson is an honor. I am Kostaltyn. Stride through the pain.
That that huge leadership benefit that you're seeing there, yeah, that's pretty normal for Kostaltyn. Now over here, I am going to get Urson's Roar for him. And I think... I do think getting replenishment is probably the best bet you can have. Let's get some more units there. More unit recruitment. Should I upgrade the port at long last? Now, we get either corruption or attrition suffered from all attrition. Let's go Eldritch Defender. That is a caravan.
Conduct yourself with
That's a clear war against them. Because I think I could attack it automatically. No. Let's try...
My rule is separated.
Yep. Well, I mean, if they're gonna send an army to die right against me, I'll certainly take advantage of that. Thank you for the vast fortune of money. Erengrad is one of the main locations for caravans. And I'm gonna upgrade the port. As useless as this fucking port is, it pays off to do something like that. It's pretty crap, but hey, we work with what we get.
Kneel to Orson.
Who calls?
Bow to me.
Bow to me, for I am
Now,
a boyar of Kislev.
I could go to war against these guys. Take Prague. If you can take Prague, you don't want to fight the war with the Vice Court. Avoid that at any costs.
Ice Queen of any Kislev
But,
who stands against Catherine faces execution.
Oh yes. I would have to pay her to join her starting war? Okay. What the hell is Catherine up to?
Dare you?
No, of course, this always
sure that you're
changes
over-
dependent on the
Do not
situation.
even consider
I don't necessarily
questioning
think
my authority.
I want to spend my money on this kind of stuff. Especially since I'm about to reach the first threshold over here. And I will reach it soon enough. Because if you look at the situation, I'm getting free supporters from building. So in a couple of turns, this will start... I could recruit one here. But if I recruit the Patriarch from this, I don't get the bonuses that he has for that, which is to recruit rank. So as opposed to getting a Patriarch level 3, I'd only get them level 1. And I only have 2 capacity. Now important bit. Help it? They've lost everything. They don't have any armies. They're gonna start recruiting next turn, but they won't. And people wonder why I think that Catherine's campaign is the hardest in the game. Kostaltyn may have a lot of shit to deal with, but you can be damn certain that this is significantly easier to deal with. Now, Throgg is up there, right? Throgg is gonna be up there. he's going to create a lot of problems for me, especially with this. But at the same time, I don't give a crap. Because I'm just gonna wipe out, help it, sack it, loot it, whatever. Raise it, maybe, even. Or just take it over, give it to a clan so I can confederate with them later. Assaulting Prague may give you a powerful city, but I don't necessarily think it's worth the price. Right.
Never heed.
Fuck. It's not good.
Bow to me.
Whichever woeful deity protects you. Fine.
Well, there's also that option. The Atterman gets a bonus. Favors infantry, favors cavalry. Or always go with favor infantry unless you're recruiting war bears. And yeah, you can bribe them. Let's get more income over there. Or you can go for farms for recruitment cost. And some devotion. But you don't really need a lot of devotion if you're playing as Kostaltyn.
Kislev.
Now what's weird is how many free heroes I get. Well, they probably have that structure.
How wolves honor father bear.
I'm gonna loot and occupy it.
I shall walk stone. Your bargaining must be in my favor, or we will not continue.
You can also look to confederate with Prague. I mean, they would give you a significant amount of income if you took the city. Help it is not worth it. Yeah, gaining Prague would be nice. It would be a lot of income, but you'd have to fight the battle. Some people argue that's worth it.
You paid.
I don't necessarily think I'm one of them.
Any Kislevite who stands against Catherine faces execution.
History shall be written by our proud nations.
We are.
Oh, let's just accept that. Now they have a full on stack there. Now Kostaltyn is not going to be able to replenish here.
Know well that I am accustomed to getting any.
So significant damage taken, sure.
For Mother Kislev.
You can also get the commandment for extra hero recruit rank. And Kostaltyn's leveled again. Get more in that well, actually, he can get... Wait, he can get all of these? I didn't realize that. Okay, I thought he had the limit. Well, the more you learn. I haven't really played Kostaltyn, to be honest with you. Now here... What? Oh my... Alright, here's the thing that I should have realized. And yes, this is something to abuse. I forgot about it for a second. So, since I took Helpit and that counts as a province, I had the temporary option to recruit an Atterman for a... Which, yeah, I'm going to do. Should I leave it on the coastline one? That is risky. That is genuinely risky because he's going to... Like, both of these provinces are pretty... Going after Prague, yeah, you could ignore... There's multiple ways of viewing that situation. If you go after Prague as a city, yeah, you'll beat the crap out of them. You'll lose some supporters, but...
Dishonorable cur! You are a stain upon existence.
You could also make a deal with Catherine. Actually, I think I'm gonna give help it to Catherine. She's a better ally than someone else. Make that deal. Make it happen. Because the fort here... Like, yeah. The fort here is worth zilch, right? It's not gonna be a high development unit situation. But first, get that Atterman. Well, I guess I don't have much choices, so I am going to deploy him here.
I've been looking forward to this. Prepare to be ripped to shreds.
He's not just gonna instantly break it. The AI will honor the word of its agreements.
Kostaltyn.
I can give that to Catherine, so what I can do is give this fort,
No hope.
get the trade agreement with her, right?
A pleasure.
Then give help it to Catherine for a non-aggression pact. Although I could also wait for a bit for Kostaltyn to regenerate some of that. I think I'll wait the next return.
Whatever the cost. The four gods bless me.
Now, Throgg is going to come down.
Kneel to Urson.
I am not going to repair anything
I
there.
reject any who crave power.
As for the quest battle, now would probably be...
Betrayers.
You could do it now.
Betrayers.
Well,
all
you could do it now, but we want to save Kraka Drak before they completely... It's just a bit of a goal of mine. Because the dwarves can secure the northern province. The way to view it here is your best plan of attack is not to go for controlling Kraka Drak itself. Though you can, and go after the winter too.
Is the side of
Yeah, sure.
For the motherland.
They're gonna fight each other there. Yeah, ridiculous amounts of money for a caravan. Man, Erengrad is a really profitable trade location for a caravan. I just take advantage of that. The garrison of the city is enough to take it out, right? Some people would just have a lord.
first of the bear cult.
I'm gonna move him out. Move him and force march.
March.
Well, he's not quite going to be able to reach it.
Urson's followers flourish in gold.
Yeah, more Kossars.
Traitor! You betray your Tsarina. You dishonor our... You honor...
Yes, Catherine. I know you've got the hard on against Kostaltyn. For perfectly understandable, justifiable reasons, I feel.
A bold strategy.
Tribesmen gather, despoiled.
Alright, the Brotherhood of the Bear is dealing with some problems over there, I feel. Research-wise, once you deal that, get Full Country Pathfinder.
Kislev foes
Unbreakable or Stalk. Stalk is better. It just protects her. I'm not gonna build an outpost. I have the money. I could.
Wow.
I'm doing it purely to help
To meet
their
with
defenses.
Honor to your ancestors.
Now, here's an issue. If I take down the lair of the Troll King, I can't exactly give it to Kraka Drak in this situation. They're dead, pretty much. It would be nice if they weren't, but they are. They're likely under siege by now. Chances of saving them are slim. The one thing you do want to do, however, is you want to go save Boris. Boris is worth it. Boris is a really powerful lord. And if you can get him before his faction gets wiped out, then that is going to be a significant benefit to your campaign. You don't necessarily need to do a whole lot.
I decree your death.
But yeah, you'll need to do some things. The Orthodoxy dominates. We gain control. Public order, you name it.
Of Kislev.
He's not quite gonna be able to deal with that.
Go! Give thanks to
But I'll take
the
this army any day
Orthodox.
against anything that they might have to offer.
Cold does not touch us.
Indeed.
That is another caravan.
Lord of all.
Let's get the city to level 3.
No higher. The right to rule. Highborn son.
What news do you bring to the Ice Throne, friend?
Yes, we give that to Catherine. Though next turn. I also think at this point the best thing I can do is switch to this. So I can recruit the Patriarch next turn. I can wait even more, but it's practically going to be the same thing.
Supreme.
As for the Burning Brazier, would the battle be that rough? Yeah. If I fight that battle, I'm losing half my army. And I can't really afford that. Not at this point. I think I need some armor costers for that. Either way, the main initial threats have been dealing with. If you need help to deal with the Winter Tooth, I mean, what is there to say? Corner camp, use the same tactics as I've used against Azazel. Azazel is stronger than Throgg. It's far stronger than Throgg. Throgg is stronger than Throgg. Not in an individual level, but it's just like, that was 3 fucking armies right there. Oh, we get the new event. Well, I guess there's a reason to not just completely ambush caravans. Still worth it though, you know?
This is my right. My rule spread.
Kinda hard.
Patriarch of Kislev.
These two will help defend the province. Garrison's roar and casualty replenishment on both of them. Actually, on one of them it's not necessarily get the melee attack one. Alright. The Atterman gets Drill Master and Master Builder. Get the Master Builder. For her, better bows. Better bows all the time. Even if you are not going to use Ice Guard.
Only the most skilled may
Okay.
serve.
Now here, gonna get control. And we're gonna move Kostaltyn to
The Orthodox.
deal with him. I wonder who the Winter Tooth is at war with though.
Constant methods. Obey.
And what can the Dawi do for you on this fine day? Honor
It
to your
might
ancestors.
be worth it to pay all of this, or to let them die and take the province for yourself. 2 different ways of viewing it. See, the territory of Norsca is really horrible for you. My goal is to save Boris. My goal is not to fight the war for the dwarves for them.
And what can the Dawi do for you on this fine day? I agree. For
Now the
wisdom
reason...
of the land.
Oh, they... What?
Don't care who you are! I smash your face in!
That is a bit surprising. I expected to see Throgg with all of his troops here. And it hasn't happened.
You're fortunate indeed to gain my attention.
So, greetings on behalf of the Empire.
Gospodar by
Now, yeah, there is a full stack of troops. They won't be able to attack instantly here, though. Well, they could, but... They won't be able to kill my army. They would be able to take the castle. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Norska. This is one of the reasons why you want to keep the Brotherhood of the Bear alive, because they will help you in all of this. They won't be especially effective at it, to be clear, but they will help to deal with all of these problems. One way or another. You just need to hold the coastline yourself. Your own coastline. Erengrad is pretty safe. Castle Alexandrinov, not so. You can always trade it to the Brotherhood of the Bear, give them that benefit. They'll benefit from it more than you.
Lord of all.
My axe thirsts for war.
There's Throgg. If I force march that,
And what can the Dawi do for you on this?
I will get my ass whooped.
I am Kostaltyn.
Shut up!
He may attack.
Betrayers! Betrayers!
Can always
all
retreat
around.
there.
My seat of power. Highborn son.
Absolute devotion! Stay healthy, Kislevites! Unwavering warm your hearts with
If they attack, we will tackle it. Did they lose everything? Yeah, they did.
Shoulder to shoulder with
Miss, let us discuss stately affairs.
Okay, forget the military access. Just give her
A pleasure, and
enough for a military alliance, a defensive alliance, because it's going to be the same thing anyway. Historical relations. We are in a better position than ever before. We may get the chaos incursions in enough though, but that can be solved somehow.
You are yet to transgress against Cathay. Accept.
So if you let the caravans keep coming to your territory, they'll give you some money. I guess yeah, it's you don't get the same short-term benefit, but yeah.
Of the great
No, I am not joining your war against Osland. Deal with that shit on your own. Worth saying that Kislev can gain quite a lot of benefits if they do decide to harass the Empire, because the Imperial territory is pretty safe for them. There are, of course, significant downsides when it comes to this as well. Now, we are gonna withdraw, so I can be closer to the dwarves, I hope. Or maybe Kraka Drak does me a solid and just takes Throgg out. The dwarves are pretty weak early on, but they do get power.
No higher authority. Motherland never falters.
Orson is rule.
Honor to your ancestors.
I shall.
fear not.
Who calls?
I will listen, but my time...
So be it. What? Greetings and...
Fine. Bow to
Windshaper. Cathay wishes no ill of the dragon-blooded.
Now, at this particular point, there is no reason to really care too much about supporters right now. I mean, we're pretty even. If I can get more devotion, sure, more churches, all that kind of stuff, right? She may end up benefiting from all the churches I've given her, true. Gonna get inspiring presence through the marcher, firing drills. Gonna recruit a mage. One of them is going to get hit point of combatants, the other one is gonna get melee attack. As he already has unlocked.
Frost Maiden.
And we're gonna start recruiting another mage.
Only I spread drought. Get out! Kneel to Orson!
They actually didn't have that showdown that I anticipated. Alright, that would just give them some cost stars. I'm not gonna upgrade that. That might be.
The Tsarina bids you welcome.
Alright. Don't expect Kostaltyn to become as powerful as Catherine has become over here. Though you could give him all the northern territories and just worry about the south. Like, take out all this, worry about it. The thing is, Kostaltyn is always going to have a supporter advantage. How is that? Because the AI cheats with invocations, and Kostaltyn has a much easier time anyway using invocations. Now, Throgg is probably going to attack here. I guess it's time to fight the battle against Throgg's Doomstack. It is an important part of the early game. No way around that. Alright, here we go. I would recommend, if you're playing a campaign, to just auto-resolve that. You lose a unit, big freaking deal, right? Recruit it again. Ranks are not gonna matter. But okay. So he's got trolls, Norscan Ice Trolls, he's got gold units, well, he's got the Regiment Renown there as well. Tackling this. Corner camping. Though he doesn't necessarily have a lot of flankers, so you can just directly fight him. But corner camping might be a really good idea, though it does have its own downsides. But to be perfectly frank about it all, as a pretty sweet corner that I might have, but the problem is I started in such a position. Map is a bit weird, what can I say?
For Kislev! You are the first of the orthodoxy. Failure will not...
By making the front line out of Kossars with spears, and this is the advantage in recruiting them, I make it so... Actually, I'll put the Streltsy over here. Because that is going to give them an advantage. Put him over there, Kostaltyn here. And let them come to me. You always have a height advantage on a hill. The Streltsy especially have a serious advantage on a hill. Because they get that better line of sight. Yeah, in point of fact, it can get even better. Because I can then do that. Put the Streltsy... oh gosh. Ooh, that's a nasty one. I'm not gonna lie. Here they are. Azazel bullshit aside, this is a battle I can easily lose. Yeah, even though the game says I should win it, don't assume the game is always right, because it is not the case at all.
Fall, heretic! The orthodoxy is alive! Land is power! Gossard!
Oh my gosh, what the hell? Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out! Wow, that hurts like a brick. He's getting out of here. I am not risking that unit. See, this is why I mean auto-resolve this shit, because yeah, there are some battles like this where you just don't want to fight it. If I can deal with Throgg though, I can maybe win. Or maybe not.
Defenders of Kislev, find safety. The orthodoxy needs all. Hussars! Anything for Kislev?
Taking point!
I am Kislev's truth. Head the blasphemer.
Sons of Kislev!
From Mother Kislev! Defeat Keeper!
Hussars! Sons of Kislev!
Attack, comrades!
Hussars!
To be fair, in this case, I'll manage to win, especially since I've killed Throgg. Pull him back.
The motherland's finest! Comrades of the band!
The army losses will still soon start kicking in, and we are in Dwarven territory here. That's it. Bloody, scary. That's why Throgg is powerful, because all he has there, that entire army, you can easily get it yourself. Oh, did I lose all of that? Well, the light war sleds have certainly served their purpose in that situation. Above and beyond. At least the Patriarch didn't die this time. But that resolve would have been a lot kinder than this, because he's walked away with a lot of these units. I would have only lost one unit. Like, you just gotta know this. Like, why is it such a deadly army though when you fight them manually? The shock impact of the trolls, the Marauder Berserkers are incredibly good. The Worm, that Regiment of Renown, is scary. It all adds up. That's why it's bananas.
The infidel dies. Too foolhardy. Do not tarry.
Now, my advice when it comes to deciding what you're gonna get there in his skill tree is probably go for Dice Guard. Like, upgrading, you could go with the upgrade to War Sleds. Don't go for War Bear Riders, you won't be able to maintain them in large numbers. Although, truth be told, well, maybe just not worth upgrading that right now. He's really a Kossar guy. Like, maybe for Kostaltyn, just focus on the Kossars. Once you get Katrin, for her, right?
Only the faithful may serve.
That's when you want to start considering some other things. Okay, let's get Tempest.
My decree.
Magic for her.
Frost Maiden, the Ice Court shall provide.
Now, over here, we can go harass Asland. I didn't want to join the war at that point. That doesn't mean I don't want to join the war at any point. Oh, it's great, by the way, having two Athermen.
Our foes are on the run.
Could get the Confederation with them. Not worth it.
It is our
Soon you will
Don't know
face
why
the
he's
fist
going down.
Ice Queen of Kislev.
Cold does not touch us. Ursen's followers flourish in
Let's see what Kraka Drak does here. I think they have the army to take that out, actually. Now my goal, I'll end this video when I meet Boris. Saving him is a different discussion altogether. But I do intend to go help him out. Prague is another discussion, another matter. They can always get better, good diplomatic relations with them. Let's see what the dwarves end up doing. Could have put myself in a camp stance. They literally ran the fuck away. Fuck that.
eradication.
Okay.
I am Kostaltyn.
Madness! No!
Give your life for Kislev. Obey me. Obey Ursen.
Let's invoke Ursen.
Gospodar by blood. Kislev's chosen.
Alright, that's gained a level. Now over here, we do get a bunch of structures. Though they're all gonna cost devotion. That is great. The thing is, none of these structures are particularly important, right? So what you may want to do, that's light war sleds, okay. You want that at least. And yeah, the light war sleds one.
A bold strategy.
The Frozen Kingdom welcomes all its allies.
Have her pay you. Or not. How powerful. Yeah, Asland is just gonna fall like a bag of potatoes.
The motherland. Destroy these fools. Courage flows in our veins. I would see them weak.
It is worth sacking stuff sometimes. I need to maintain my economy.
Cut them down. More taxpayers. Excellent. No higher.
Now Norden is only level 1.
I accept only loyal men.
He's gonna get more in firing drills, get that all the way to speed. Get the replenishment up. And both of these on the Ice Witch. Get Hailstorm.
Only loyal men.
For her, you can either get Vigor or Vanguard deployment. I think Vigor is better. Many a times. Now here in terms of skills, what should you go for? Well, there are a bunch of things available. You could get ammunition for Streltsy. Now Erengrad, which you start with, right, has some pretty nice benefits, but more as like campaign focused benefits. I think the getting this for growth would be nice. And you can get missile resistance once you take Kislev eventually. Though obviously that's gonna take a while for Kostaltyn.
A holy decree.
I I am true.
I have no damn clue what the dwarves decide to do. Alright. It's gonna take 2 turns for Kostaltyn to be able to march out.
The great bear demands your aid.
Azak has declared war on me. That's fine. I guess they wiped out the dwarven army there, didn't they? I think the dwarves were using the underway. The winter to have just marched and smashed them. I might have to stop my global recruitment. Trade tariffs or melee attack. Renovate the Grand Market.
First of the bear cult.
Yeah, it's not worth it now.
And what can the Dawi do for you on this farm? Sure.
Yep, attack that target.
Lord of all.
Do not waste
My army should be stronger than whatever Aslan can put together.
It undermines my authority.
my hand.
Except until Festus wipes them out.
You're sick.
And there's your issue. In going against Aslan as Kislev. Not really recommended, is it? Because, yeah, Festus. Will just show up. Ruin your day. There's a nice gold mine, so there is a potential for a lot of income from that. Possibly. But yeah, going for Aslan is not usually worth it, I feel. It's a waste of time, energy, resources. Unless you want to fight Festus. Go right ahead if you do that. I'm tempted to give this to Catherine. Just take it, give it to Catherine, trade it away. He's pulled back. He's got his own problems, if you will.
Another time. Born to power. I do not tolerate hesitation.
Deliver your missive and then get from my presence.
So be it.
Highborn son.
Kneel to Ursan.
You know nothing.
Alright. Well,
Destroy.
there is still this last battle. Wait, did they? No. Kraka Drak is still intact. So Boris is here.
Excellent.
He's actually done something. He hasn't lost his entire army.
Approved.
Once, sorry, this video has gone on for a decent amount of time, but let me go over how you defeat this. Obviously, Norscan towers aren't the strongest in the world. Then you use this, and they don't really have a lot of range units either. And so yeah, you use your Kossars to just continuously do a lot of damage. You can also fight this to a draw. Now he's not gonna have the same benefits. So this is more of a Skaven. Like I guess like Skaven and dwarves do actually share the same kind of settlement types. It actually suits the Skaven a lot more than dwarves. I feel like if you're playing with the dwarven army, this settlement type would actually suck to defend, because you might think, oh, a lot of natural choke points. Yeah, but dwarves may benefit from that if they have a dwarf warrior army, but not necessarily if they have a quarreler army. which, yeah, would be a really good way of doing things. Right, so regardless, here, just deploy as such, get a lot of firepower, concentrate to that entrance, and let's get it going.
Sons of Kislev!
Hussars! A fine strategy!
March for Kislev!
Remember, without Throgg, a lot of the significant damage bonuses are not going to be there for this army. That I'm facing right here, so it will actually be pretty easy to tackle. Like, the Lord is a significant portion of any army's combat ability. Lose the Lord, lose the army, more or less. Lose the Legendary Lords. It is especially true for Legendary Lords, I feel. This is one of the reasons why when you're playing a campaign, one of the things you actually want to do is snipe Legendary Lords, like prevent them from leveling up. If you can do that, then your campaign generally ends up being significantly easier. I get some replenishment. They actually can't get the shots done. Okay. I'm gonna move these Kossars over here. Don't know how long they're gonna be able to stand in a fight there before the enemy starts breaking. Gonna pull back Kostaltyn. That is for units, so let's get these guys, both these guys there. That might be it for this unit of Kossars. Yep. Well, I'll admit, they are certainly holding their own for a lot longer than I would have believed. Pull back the Streltsy, they've taken significant damage already. Right, more units incoming there. Got him out. Just got him out completely. Keep moving ahead there. How much more can these guys take? I don't know. A lot by the looks of it. It's only a handful of units left anyway. Well, they're certainly making me fight for my money. Hold back. Costars do have a nasty habit of, you know, fighting until the bitter end. Oh, they're gonna fight until the bitter end. Okay. Got that war bear unit out. Break, damn you. Alright. Lots of damage done there. I'm curious to see though if I take this settlement, and I should be able to take it. Whether or not I'll get any vision with Boris, because if I do, then you know you can start making deals, diplomatic relations, all that kind of stuff. Protect him if need be, get an outpost, etc. Right, 3 units of Costars wiped out. That isn't too big of an issue though.
Yes. We fly.
Now pull back.
Wicked, wicked soul.
I don't even care anymore.
For eternity. Execute the heavens. We fight and die In Orson's name! I am Kostaltyn!
Alright, so that gives you
Few accord Kislev. A toast.
vision with Boris. Now we got +10. We lose -10 because of that. And if you
First of the bear cult.
then give this to Kraka Drak,
Aye.
there's a significant amount
Patriarch of Kislev, replenish!
of
Give
troops.
your life for
They do have a garrison there. But I did want to see if I could get vision on Boris. Now with all that sort out, we are getting close on level 2. We can reduce her supporters by 50. Let's improve the economy there. We can get, yeah. And for her, better bows, as you expect. Now we got some more benefits even here over here.
an instrument of
I think upgrading that
will.
entire tree is probably really worth it.
Glory be to Orson.
But what would you do after this? You might wonder. Well, after this, the best thing to do would be to take the mountains there. The province, the Eastern Oblast would be a good place to stabilize. What about Azak? He's declared war, right? Well, don't worry too much about him. Worry about that. Drak is gonna need all the help it can get.
I'll remove your heretic head. Heed me. Pray until dawn. Obey me. Obey Orson.
Now over here, it might just be a better idea to get those light force lids. I have enough Cossars to fill an entire goddamn legion of troops.
Deliver your missive and then get
Now
to my
he's at
presence.
war.
Celestial
He's in a miserable
ancestors.
situation, really.
Our shared cause is in the...
Wind Shaper.
But yeah, Drak is kind of messed up. Though they do have a full stack of troops that just... You want to know why the AI does this? The AI gets screwed. Like, look at Drak. It's like they've been just screwing around, messing around, doing nothing, right? For all this time. Boris, at least, is taking that initial province. Though he's not necessarily going to be in the best position. Like, this entire army is just focused on the defensive. But keep in mind, I have very little territory myself. I only have, like, Erengrad and all this. Like, the rest belongs to Catherine. There's no problem in giving Catherine all that, because she's just going to develop those from her vast quantity of cash. And yeah, you may end up giving Catherine more supporter advantage. Though once you get that past that 50 threshold, then you're always going to have that advantage early on.
Greater good must be served.
No. I'm not going to break that. This army is going to march north to deal with some of the minor Norscan tribes. Though you don't want to push into Norska. Like, always maintain good relations. Like, let the Brotherhood of the Bear deal with that, while you deal with some other things on your own. Research-wise, once Convalescence is finished, you can get, yeah, Ice Court,
Do not
just for that extra bit of control. Over here, I would be able to get Streltsy, get this to level 3.
Boyar of Kislev, my decision is law. Prepare your master's
And I am going to go help in the Bay of Blades.
I am Kostaltyn.
And what can the...
Also,
Aye.
no ally missions, huh? Speaking about it, by the way, short campaign victory condition. Have 600 supporters. Yeah, good luck with that. You also need to wipe out the Demon Prince. I wonder if, like right now, getting 600 supporters is just for a short campaign victory condition? Are you bloody serious? It's like, that's one of the hardest short campaign victory conditions in the entirety of the game. I'm not even exaggerating with that. It genuinely is harsh. Because that means it's like, oh, you need to get to the highest possible level.
fit for a lord.
Alright, gonna go for the Bay of Blades.
Child.
City
I'm at war with a lot of factions, but they're not really much of a concern. Well, Festus might be, but Festus is at war with a lot of people. Azag is coming. Your best bet is to take the Frozen Landing. Maybe get enough devotion to invoke Urson again. But the Frozen Landing region can be a really good place. Like outside of the 3 big cities of Kislev, that region is relatively safe. Like there is a minor Skaven faction that you may have to deal with. It also gives you purchase within the Eastern Oblast. Throgg is back. Of course he is. But you may not necessarily be able to wipe out Kraka Drak this time around. Not so easily, anyway. I think between the 2 armies, between the newly recruited one and what these guys have, yeah, I would think that the armies of dwarves should be able to win there.
Leave now if you are prone to time.
Urson loves
The Drak.
Cafe Eternal.
Prague may declare war against you. I made too many good deals with Catherine for them not to hate me for it.
This is my right.
One thing to mention. Yeah, I don't really care.
Motherland never falters. I would see them.
I could disband all of this and just recruit them instantly again. Well, not instantly, but yeah. Just get the recruitment sorted out, start recruiting an army.
March on.
Just get it out, actually.
Frost Maiden.
And get the new lord over here. It's gonna take 3 turns.
My rule is cemented. I demand absolute loyalty.
Or I could get some armor Kossars from Kislev itself.
Denied.
You are fortunate indeed to gain my attention.
Confederating with them would be nice at this point, but yeah, there would be downsides as well. Anyway, yeah, despite that second army, and I just don't really care about that. Despite the situation with that second army, things are in a relatively stable state. Over here, Carrick Flag may be one of the things you want to sell, and yes, going to war against Prague at this point would be the smart move. Because you may lose supporters for every battle, but as long as you have the Invocation of Urson active, and I still do, and I'll be able to get it for very cheap as long as I have that 20 event Mother Earth thing. I guess I could have just taken those patriarchs and... Yeah. Oh, they're They're just disbanded. Alright, that was a mistake. Like, I should have just moved them out of my army and started heading to Castle Alexandronov. But regardless, Costin here signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, enable notifications. After this point, here's what I would say. After this point, you stay on the defensive in Arangrad and in the Western Oblast. You could even give the Western Oblast to the Brotherhood or to Catherine. I think maintaining the Brotherhood of the Bear alive as an independent faction is worth it. Same with Kraka Drak, because they will help you out. Like, the AI gets a lot of money for free, and it's like, it gives you the flexibility, for instance, for me, to go over here and take these mountains, take Prague. Once Prague is taken, once the Eastern Oblast is taken, Prague is actually one of those settlements you really, really want to take. The reason behind that is Prague is gives you some incredibly good benefits, like the Citadel of Prague is actually one of the best things you can get in the game early on. You can, of course, confederate with Prague, especially once you get to supporter level 2, or you can wage a war. Be aware of the supporter situation, though, if you do fight the war, but over here I'm getting 2 supporters each turn, so I'll be able to make up for that relatively easily enough. So yeah, Costin signing out. Stay tuned.